G'day and welcome back to Star Citizen. Today we are taking a look at the first of the large ships to enter the game, predating the Drake Caterpillar, and that is the MISC Starfarer, which is, for lack of a better word, basically a space tanker, like those giant oil tank transporting ships you see. Now, straight away you'll notice it's got this funny, weird, grin on the mouth there. It sort of looks like it's in shock. It's got the two white bars, it looks like an open mouth. That is a fuel scoop, because not only is this a fuel transporter, it can actually harvest the gas from a planet such as Crusader in the background there, and then through some magic voodoo that is in lore, I'm sure, it will transform that into fuel that starships can use. And not just that, it can also refuel other ships, but not currently because it's actually missing the refueling boom. But let's actually have just a quick run around of the ship. It is huge, so it's going to take me a bit of time to get around it entirely. I mean, let's just, if I switch to the first person, just look at the size of this thing. It is absolutely gigantic. But yeah, you've got some big ass guns there. They, what size were they? Yeah, size 4s there. They can actually go up to size 5s, I believe. There's some size 5s on a turret on the top. And then there's some smaller guns on the back. Yeah, you got lots of nice little attention to detail. This ship was made by Foundry 42, so the British studio, and also at the time of making it the largest studio. Some detail on these massive landing gear. Caution, this gear is remotely controlled and may start without warning. Again, just scale the ship, that's the landing gear. So, it's a bit on the larger side, shall we say. Now, let's just zoom out, you can get an idea of the size of the ship. There we go. So, we're kind of small next to it. And yeah, it's a very nicely made ship. It looks a bit interesting. It's basically a brick, for basically, again, lack of any other words. But that is what sets it apart from the Caterpillar. Whereas the Caterpillar was long, this thing is just bulky. And you will see that when we get to the interior. Just run around here, there's just a sort of swollen bit on the outside here. And then here's one of the fuel tanks. The fuel tanks are all in these pods. These pods can all be removed. That's the plan anyway. So that you'll be able to swap out the load very much like a, like Thunderbird 2 or something like that. There's also storage pods as well, but they don't actually exist currently, so we've just got the fuel tank load, which looks a bit exposed when you see it like this, but you got to remember that there's also shields around this thing, so they're not completely vulnerable and giant floating mines, although there's plenty of people who want to use them as such. Moving on, we'll see you've got an upper engine there, there's two on either side, and then you've got a central engine, which we'll see in just a moment. There's another one of the landing gear. If we move on under, there's one of the rear turrets. There's two of these turrets, one on either side, and that is your rearward defense. The big dorsal turret on top will provide additional fire, but yeah, these are the only ones that cover the underside. But the pilot only has control over those big chin guns, so you need turret gunners to operate these. This is looking down the between the booms. Big spoiler for some reason, because, well, it's MISC. All that lens flare there. But you've got the central engine, and you've got this catway here. The refueling boom would be under this if the refueling boom actually existed at the moment. But it doesn't, so we'll just keep going on. And yeah, so that's about it for the exterior. The thing with this ship is all about its interior. It is a literal maze, but we'll get to that. Let's just get inside. Some of the lovely detailing. We'll actually go up there in a second, and we'll open the access panel to go inside. When I get the right spot. There we go. Try not to get hit by it. It folds down, and then those little, what do you call them, handrails fold out. That's pretty cool. And this will handle things like the buggies quite easily. And we go up the ramp, and that will take us to the cargo bay. Because not only do you have cargo carried out on the booms here, you have this internal cargo space as well, which is basically the size of some of the hangars that you can see in game. I mean, you can definitely fit a snub ship in here. An Argo won't fit through this opening, unfortunately. However, something like the Merlin will, and of course, space motorbikes like the Dragonfly will as well. So we'll close the door. You close it from this panel here. You can see you got these nice side doors that close in, and then the pins extend, and it locks itself shut. It's a pretty secure looking door with manual releases by the look of it there. But yes, the interior cargo bay is pretty bloody huge, and you've got these storage pads here so you can see about the areas you'll be able to fill with cargo. You've also got these jump seats which you can use for at least a few passengers. They're not really intended for carrying passengers, but they can do it. Moving through here, not sure what these are, but I'm guessing they're part of the fuel system. We'll go through the mind you head in through this corridor, which is a bit, it seems a bit unusual. Like, why is this corridor going here? This is for the front airlock, which is down there. Now, I don't want to fall in there because you can't actually get back in. There's no ladder, and on EVA at the moment, you can't really get through here unless you launch yourself, because you can't disable the ship's local gravity in this area. So as soon as you go through the opening, ship's gravity affects you, you get pushed straight back down through it. So that's that's a bit of an issue that hopefully gets resolved. Looking through here, you've got these storage spaces for some spacesuits. There's one on that side and one on that side, along with some medical systems, and that's about it for this room. This is just the bit under the nose, so this is below the cockpit. Moving back, I'll have to kind of explain to things where they are, because this ship is really confusing in its layout, and I still get lost in it at times, but that's partially down to just how big it is. We'll move on this way, we'll go through the doors, and we'll go up the stairway. It has Mind Your Step, because of course it does. And here we are on the middle level. So this is, I suppose you'd call it level 1. This is where we have an airlock, so we'll activate the airlock to go through. Although it's not pressurized at the moment, so we're having to wear our EVA suit anyway. And then this is the exterior, so this is the catwalk that you would be operating from. You've got some control panels here. I suppose they're for controlling the pods. We don't really know at the moment. Massive hydraulic cylinder or fuel line there. It could be either. My guess is fuel line. But yes, we'll go to the end here, and this would be how you've got to operate the boom for refueling other ships. You can see it in the concept art, but unfortunately it hasn't made it into the game. But it's a pretty interesting spot to look at the ship. I mean, you got the windows along the booms there you can see, as well as all this scaffolding. But the main thing, of course, is that massive engine is immediately above you. So don't jump too high or you might go into its stream. As it warns you there, caution, keep clear. Which is pretty solid advice if you ask me. We'll move back on down through the catwalk, and I will show you you've got these little lifts on either side. They are for accessing this area through an airlock up the top. We'll go check that out later, because this airlock down here doesn't have provision, if you noticed, for EVA suits, which is an interesting design decision if you ask me. Closing this door, we've got a little plan of the ship on the wall there. It would be nice to have more of those, because you definitely need them here, even where they've tried to color code things to make it a bit more logical, I suppose, in layout. So before we go back over there, I'll just show the bridge. So you step onto the bridge area, and first you're greeted by the escape pod room, because yes, this has its own escape pod room. You'll see there's 3 per side, for a total of 6 escape pods here. These aren't the only ones in the ship, even though they're the only real ones for most of the crew. We step through this bulkhead here, and we're on board the bridge, which looks pretty damn amazing if you ask me. You got these 2 support seats on the back here. Not sure what they'll actually do, but they're there. You've got the captain's chair, so finally we can have a captain's chair and just watch your ship fly through space. And then you got the usual pilot, I was going to say something else there, and co-pilot's seat. And you'll see the interior is very much like the Freelancers, only it's a bit narrower. We're not going to fly this yet, we're going to come back to it later. So we'll exit this area, and I'll just show you so you don't get lost if you haven't already. We came from this stairwell up here. So that's the stairwell that goes to the cargo bay. You go through this door here, and you've got a ladder here that goes to some maintenance rooms. I'm not going to show you this one because there's quite a few of them on the ship and they look all basically the same. But yes, if we look at this size, this is opposite the bridge exit. This is where the cargo manifest is. So here is where, you know, you've got a nice overview of the panel. If I wasn't crouching enough for you to see it properly. But it's there, honest. Going this way, we go to the stairs that take us to the next level up. Now this is where we've got some more interesting things going on. And hopefully you won't get lost too easily. You'll see there is floor signs here showing which ways they go. If only they had more of those. You see this says living quarters. You go through here, there's a lift. We'll go to that later. And there's a lot of that with this ship, can you tell? So if we move this way, we're actually moving sideways through the ship at the moment. So forgive me if you get a bit confused. There's another access to going upstairs. As it says, living quarters. I wish they had these on the wall, that would make them way easier to read. Some screens there, not sure what they're for. Here is one of the maintenance tunnels. You've got a little bit down there which you have to crouch to get through. But yeah, these are where you would access certain parts of the ship. Not sure what systems exactly are going to be in here, but there's some. And they go to all levels, so you don't even have to go through the main ways up and down through the ship. Which is an interesting consideration given pirates are a possibility. And this ship is pretty much its own first-person shooter level. So that's something to keep in mind. If we go this way, we'll go into this sort of narrow corridor. And here's two more escape pods. You'll see there's two of these on each side. So there's 4 at the back here on either side and the 6 on the bridge. So there's a total of 10 escape pods. When the crew size seems to be about 7 because you've got the captain and 6 crew berths, which we'll look at when we get to the living quarters. If you go down here, this is one of the booms. I love how they've got these little handles on the top for moving down through this area in EVA. And also lots of this sort of net curtain for holding stuff. Not sure why it's there, but it is. This is one of the few ships that has windows at the moment, and I absolutely love it for that fact. They're absolutely small windows and they're massively scratched, as you can see. Somebody should get some polishing done on there, but they do actually exist. So, you know, you could see outside of the ship in places other than the bridge. Going through that door is the dorsal turrets. That's those turrets that hang upside down in the tail. We don't need to go see them. Pretty much when you've seen one turret, you've seen them all, really. Go through here. This is where we have 2 interesting rooms. We'll go to this one first. This is what I can only assume is the gravity generator. This big orb thing here. And for some reason, you have to go through this room to go through this airlock here, and this is the upper airlock. So through here you'll see more room for EVA suits. There's 3 of them. Nice design to this room. And if we look here, these are those elevators which I showed before lead straight down to the catwalk. So you can go from the living quarters down to here through the gravity generator room and grab your suit to go outside. Bit convoluted perhaps, but it's an option. But we'll go back through here. Go back through this door and we'll take a look at the power plant, or at least I'm assuming it's the power plant, given it's a big glowing red thing and very few things in the game could be a power plant other than big glowing red things, or at least that's the stereotype. But that's what that is, I'm guessing. And there's a fire extinguisher panel in there, so that maybe is, I don't know. But yeah, I'm being very informative, aren't I? We'll go back through here, go around the other side. Maintenance, it says. You'll see you've got this little access panel on the side, more rooms for servicing stuff. Hopefully you don't need to service too much because you're going to get lost otherwise. There's the other escape pods, and if we go down that way, that's the other tail boom. So hopefully you're understanding the layout there. Go through this door here. There's another one of those panels. This is the one you have to crouch to get through, but it's there. And now we'll go check out the living quarters. There's the stairwell that goes back down. Hope you're following. We'll go up here and we'll take the lift up. So we'll press the button. There's also a ladder for when the power is out, or so you can just EVA through. Takes you into this little room. There's the elevator call button if you need it. And you exit into the top deck of the ship. This is the final level we've got. In the middle there is the access to the dorsal turret on top, so you need to go through there. At the moment it seems you can't actually board it, which is a shame. There's the other actual lift there as well. Yeah, so this is the top of the ship. There's access to the maintenance that goes up. Again, it's red, so you can tell it's maintenance. We'll go to this side first. This is the crew quarters. So we'll look here. Here's the 6 berths, or berths rather, again, if I could speak English. Unfortunately, there's no private cabin, so everyone's sort of common bunking here. But they've all got a little cupboard area, it seems, on the back there. Nice and tidy beds, all uniform with the MISC logo. This guy doesn't have a window, unfortunately, but this guy does have a window nice in here. Not much you can see out there, but it's a window. And there's a little chair of some sort, and these lockers, this one being open by the look of it. And then if you go into the back here, the crew have their own private toilets, or bathrooms, both male and female. Don't know why, but apparently we're splitting them up. More lockers, and then if we'll take a look in the toilet, you'll see it's the standard fare of a tap, hot and cold tap, because this is English. And then you've got a toilet, very square looking toilet, not the most comfortable I would think. And then a shower, because of course you can have a shower whilst you're taking a dump, because that is what everyone does in space, apparently. More benches for when you've got a queue to go to the shower, or when you're waiting for someone to come out. And then here's the ladies, again, same style. We'll close that up, and we'll go take a look at the other aspects we've got here. So this is the mess area here. Skylight in the top, nice touch. You can see Crusader through there, that's pretty nice. The table, bit Spartan compared to the Drake Caterpillars. No TV watching ability, unfortunately. You got little fold down tables there. Not sure what they're for, but they're there. The whole table, I believe, has the ability to fold away, or at least that's what it seemed in the concept art, but it doesn't have that at the moment. And then you've got the galley, quite a well equipped galley. I mean, it's even got a divider on it. But you've got what I'm guessing is your burners there. You've got some drink dispensers and a sink that has no taps or anything. But that is it. Oh, and your trash, because you're going to have some rubbish. And then we'll go to the final room upstairs, and this is the captain's quarters, which opens immediately to the captain's desk. Unfortunately, no chair, so you can't make a bit of an impression. He has to be standing all the time, which is a shame. So you'd be sort of sitting here. In the concept art, they had a little fish tank, which I really hope they can add again, because that would be a nice touch. Going through here, the captain's got his bunk. Very untidy, you can see here. Got the blankets all strewn about with an interesting choice. More storage room, another window, very scratched window. Whoop, but it's a window. And I fell through the ship. That's the fun of this game. Let me just get out of the ship. Oop, and apparently I really damaged my legs. But yeah, so that is that's the Starfarer. Let's just try and get back on board, shall we? And not die. The only other room I had to show up there was the captain's personal toilet anyway. The toilet and shower. So you're not really missing anything important by my falling out of the ship. We'll close that up and we'll just take this for a quick fly, because I've realized this video is already going on far too long, but I can't really abbreviate it any further because this ship is just so massive, and showing everything will take a long time. So we'll go on through, we'll get into the pilot's seat, wait for him to sit down, and it basically uses very similar to the Freelancer, which makes sense. And I don't know why they say MISC. I mean, I know it's an acronym, but yeah. You can see the HUD sort of sprawls out across the middle there. Makes it a bit hard to see in the normal piloting position. But if we switch to the external camera, we'll watch the takeoff. So we'll lift up here, put the gear in. The gear doesn't have to go very far, but that's alright. And then we'll start moving forward. Just move on to the back so you can see the thrusters with the interesting effects they have on them. Ooh, lots of sun glare there, and the music swells. The rear view, not through a cockpit panel. Yeah, so you can see here the max speed normally is about 70 meters a second, which isn't great. If we apply the boost though, nice deep rumble. I actually forget what the max speed is, so we'll see when we get there. So the max speed is 350, so it's not the fastest ship. But it's, you know, it'll get places. Let's just go somewhere. Let's pick a destination. Where's close? Cryastro service. Why not? We'll go there. So we'll just make our quantum jump. Look across at the other seat as we jump through. Weapons are online, but that's fine. And there we are. We're at Cryastro. The ship flies reasonably well. I mean, it rotates probably a bit too fast, but it does actually have some weight to it. I mean, you can see here, using Cryastro as a basis, the amount of rotation we've got. So the ship is pretty agile given its bulk, which is quite possibly a bad thing. But yeah, I don't know really what to say anything else about it. It's a ship, it handles quite nicely. There's a nice shot of Crusader in the background there. I have one of these because I love the idea of a refueling ship that can get you anywhere. Oh, very lie. No thanks, I don't want you repairing my ship.
Fill up on quantum fuel before you go.
I don't need to, that's why I brought this ship. But yeah, you got another scoop on the top there, and you can see the dorsal turret. But yeah, so that is the MISC Starfarer. It's an interesting vessel, bit of a niche role, but if you have the need for a space tanker, this is the ship you want to call. So until next time, I'm Denodon, this is Star Citizen, safe landings.